Hello, sunshines. It's Mo. All right. So, in this video, we're going to talk about my personal story of endometriosis and specifically how this all came about and how this ball started to roll. All right. And first, I want to say a shout out before I get into it um, for all of those who are suffering with endometriosis, those who are fighting through. I see you and you're strong and you are powerful and you are courageous and all that. Um, this month, the month of March, is actually Endometriosis Awareness Month. And the colors are yellow. And, I didn't plan this, but I'm wearing yellow. But yeah, so I see you and I'm fighting with you, I'm fighting for you, all of that. And it's just so fitting that I'm sharing this story, sharing this series during this month. This really wasn't planned. I didn't even realize that it was Endometriosis Awareness Month until a couple weeks ago, I think, when I was already planning on doing this. So it's very fitting. And yeah, so um, without further ado, let's get started. All right, so let's go back to this time last year, in March. I don't really remember the dates specifically, but it was 2020. And just to take you back, it was when COVID first, started to break out in the United States. And we were hearing about it. And I remember I was getting ready to go back to school. I was in my first year of graduate school, and I was getting ready to go back to school from spring break, and just abruptly they're like, "Oh no, you're not coming back. Just stay where you are," and this and that. And then we started classes online, and that's when they were just like, "Yeah, for a precaution, we have a lot of cases coming up and stuff, and just as a precaution, we want to just do online classes and stuff like that." So it was really a shock to everyone, and no one was prepared for that. My professors weren't prepared for that, and we kind of did a huge turnaround of now we're going to do at home learning. So it was really weird and stuff like that. But and then this happens. So let's just go into it. So I remember it was like had to be like a Saturday. I was talking to my boyfriend on the phone. We were video chatting. He's long distance. I'm in one place. He's in another. That whole thing. And we were just talking, and all of a sudden, I felt this pain. It was the worst pain that I ever felt in my life, my whole entire life, easy. And it was from my groin, and it shot up, like going down to my groin, in my pelvis, all the way up to like right under my chest. And it was just like a sharp pain. Worst pain I ever felt, 10 easy, 10 out of 10 pain, easy. And it was horrible. Like I was literally laying down on the couch, and all of a sudden I feel this sharp pain, and I like yelp. And my boyfriend's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong? Like, what's up?" And I'm just like, "I just feel pain. Like I just feel pain." And I was very confused. I was very like kind of, it shocked me. I didn't know what to think. And I was just laying there, and immediately I got into the fetal position, and I was just laying there. He's like, "Are you okay?" and all this stuff, and I was just like, "You need to pray." So I, told him to pray. He was praying for me and stuff like that, and it was just like this pain. It wasn't. It was unrelenting, meaning that it was constant. It didn't change when I changed positions, like when I laid on my back, when I laid on my stomach. It didn't matter. Like it just was there, and it didn't go away. And it just was a constant. It wasn't. It was kind of like a throbbing pain, but it was sharp. It was sharp and throbbing, which doesn't really make sense to this day. But one thing to note about pain is, and this is what we're learning in class with physical therapy is that pain, when it's like a musculoskeletal issue, then we know that pain will change. Like if you strain a muscle, the pain will change depending on what you do. So if you change positions, if you contract your muscle, it will increase the pain. But when you relax the muscle and like stretch it or just leave it alone, it should subside or lessen or something. So it wasn't this. Like that wasn't the case with this. And so I knew that this was abnormal. Like this isn't right. And the fact that it was so um, constant and so intense and so just out of the ordinary, out of nowhere, those are red flags. For like medically, those are red flags, and those are things that you want to keep an eye on. But me, I wasn't in school at the time, so I was like, this hurts, but I don't want to go to the ER. I don't want to go to the hospital. Why? Because we're in COVID and we're still in COVID, but it's like a lot less now, I dare to say. But during that time, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was spreading it. We didn't know anything. So it was really kind of like, all I know is that I didn't want to go to the hospital. I didn't like the hospital as it was, so I didn't want to go to the hospital. I I didn't want to go to the ER specifically because I don't know who's there. So I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna just lay here and hope that this leaves soon. But I told my mom, I told Emmett, or my boyfriend, and I told them, and then you know one was saying, "Oh, you should go," and then another was saying, "Oh, you shouldn't," and just wait and this and that. And but eventually, I wound up going because I was just like, "This isn't going away, and I can't sleep like this. I can't do anything like this. Like this is not. This is shot. Like I can't." And it just was. It was as if it was already a 10 out of 10, right? And it just it was as if it got worse, which doesn't make sense to me because it was like it was already at the limit that I could, like, the worst pain I've ever felt. It was already there, so it was like throbbing and just increasing somehow, and I was just like, I can't take this anymore. So my mom drove me to the ER, which was really close. So we went there to see, what they can do for me because I was just out of options and out of time. And so I went there and they gave me a urine test. They had me do a urine test. They had me do a blood test. They hooked me up to IV for fluids and, excuse me, and they gave me morphine, small dose because I'm not about that life, but a small dose, and finally I could somewhat sleep. So I was like knocked in the room or whatever that they gave me, but it was still, you could still feel it, which was just blowing my mind. Like, how do I still feel this pain? And I'm on like a little bit of morphine. Like I didn't need much, but to knock me out. But it was just crazy. So I had to wind up waiting for the diagnostic testing. I got a CT scan and then I got a ultrasound. And I had to wait for those because it was like I forgot to mention this, but it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Had to be like 1 o'clock in the morning when I was getting there. I guess the people that do those scans, the techs or whatever, were either already gone or were just leaving. So I had to wait until the morning, like later in the morning, to get those tests done. So I was just kind of hanging out there. They did there was my doctor that was in the ER came and did this pelvic exam. When I tell you that was like as if the pain could get any worse. It got 10 times worse when he did that. And it was just like, I don't know if he was rushing or what, but it was just like not, it just wasn't okay. And I was like in tears, not even near tears, but in tears. And it's just like, this isn't normal, da 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 da, and all these things. And I'm just like, great, but I kind of already knew that. But anyway, so fast forward, I get my CT scans and I get my ultrasound. They actually mentioned they weren't supposed to do this, but they mentioned like in passing, like when they were talking to one another, like the nurses, I think, were talking, like the nurse and the tech for the testing was talking about how I had like scar tissue, like everywhere and stuff like that. And I'm like, what? Like, what is going on and stuff like that? And I had no idea. I never knew about endometriosis. Didn't know anybody that had it. Didn't know anything about it. And I was just like, well, that's not something that you want to hear from the tech or from the doctor or from anybody, like just flipping like, oh, there's a lot of scar tissue and blood and stuff like that. So I was, of course, nervous, and they wind up letting me go, and they gave me some medication for pain and stuff like that, which nothing really helped. No pain, no pain medication or anything really helped, but it was better than nothing. And I could somewhat get comfortable enough to sleep um, with that. So, um, yeah. So they sent me home. I followed up like that same week or the week after, like, so like Monday, Tuesday, or something like that. I followed up with my doctor, and that is when he told me more of the story that I didn't hear from the text, that I had a ovarian cyst on the right side of my right ovarian ovary. I can't talk, but my right ovary had a ovarian cyst, and he said that it was about the size of a tangerine, so about that big. See that? That big in this little bitty space. And that explained pain. So I was just like, oh, well, what are we gonna do about that and stuff? And I'll get into more of that in the next video of like what exactly the plan was and things like that. So, but I did have an ovarian cyst on my ovary on my right side, and they didn't know yet, but I also had endometriosis. So the endometriosis already caused pain typically, and then the ovarian cyst just up that up like to the umph degree. And um so that was what I was dealing with. I didn't know that quite yet, but that is what I was dealing with. And yeah. And one of the things that I remember when I was in the, the clinic in the ER was, I remember praying like, Lord, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening, when I especially when I heard that I had scar tissue and bleeding and stuff like that. Like, that's not something you want to hear. So I was just like, Lord, I don't know what what this is, what you're doing in this season right now with me, but all I know is that you are a healer, and I know that whatever it is, you will use it for your glory. And lo and behold, he did just that. And so I will get to more of this story. This will kind of continue as the weeks go on. So, yeah, that is how this ball started to roll. And there's more, many more to come. So, as always, let your light shine before men, and God bless. Stay tuned.